Happy lunch hour, gang. Okay, reminder, it is still April 1st, April Fool's Day, which always makes for a difficult day to read the news and see who's joking and who's not. Okay, is this just a play or is this serious? I mean, I go back to, don't just think this is social media or something. I go back to remembering a story of about 40 years ago. Maybe some of you guys remember this one. It was the cover story on Sports Illustrated that in the Mets farm system, they had a pitcher who could throw 140 miles an hour. And people believed this stuff until Sports Illustrated had to come out and say it was a joke. Okay. So don't just think that the media itself is everything is true. You've got to look stuff up. So this morning, for about the past 4 hours, I've spent digging into a story trying to confirm as best I can something that is not concerning as of yet, but we need to pay attention to it. Let's put it this way. Now go back 5 years now to when COVID started. Right? And at the very beginning, the stories were, it's no big deal. It doesn't even exist. I mean, remember, it was called COVID, coronavirus, December, that was what the D was for, 19 for the year, right? And we didn't know about it for about a month. It didn't affect us here in the West, if you will, for about a month. And by then, it was already too late because people didn't know. We don't trust the Chinese media. We don't trust the media anywhere, but you certainly don't trust foreign media, especially foreign adversarial media, at all. I'm sorry, I don't trust the Chinese at all. Not going to happen. There's nothing they can do to change that. It's a communist country. So there's an interesting story that has come out that I've dug deep into. And in the description down here, I'm going to show you half a dozen different verifications I got on different parts of this story. From the US media, from the British media, from the Russian media. Different spins on this story. There apparently is a disease spreading around Russia right now, in Moscow and other cities, that has similar but stronger symptoms than COVID. The exhaustion, the runny nose, but this one gets worse. When you get to a point of a bloody cough, okay? And many people have been hospitalized for this already all over the country. It really started hitting the news over the weekend. It started coming out on social media, people talking about this, and the government got involved, and the government did an investigation. This is the Russian government. And the government said, there's no new disease. Now, they tested it. It wasn't the flu. It wasn't COVID. So they're trying to say it's walking pneumonia. Except walking pneumonia doesn't give you a bloody cough. So then they're saying, because you're coughing so much, you're damaging your esophagus, you're damaging your lungs, and that's what's causing it. Except, as the people in these stories are saying, they are so weakened by this that they can't even get out of bed. Okay. Then, of course, you've got all the stories. This is people who have seasonal allergies. It's the 1st of April. Go look up what the weather is like in most of Russia right now. Upstate Michigan, Wisconsin, you guys can relate. It's the same. Do you get unless you're allergic to snow, don't try that. Okay, not flying with me. So it comes to the point where I start to think, I don't trust the Russian government, and most of the media in Russia is government-controlled media, kind of like here, right? So are they trying to hide something? Is there a disease that is in Russia at the moment that they don't want the world to know about? Could it spread? Remember, China didn't want the world to know about COVID until it started spreading. You could say, well, gee, there's not as much of a risk because it's not like the Russian population is really traveling all that much during a war. Try getting a visa, right? As opposed to the Chinese. Chinese didn't have a problem. Okay, so maybe it's contained. But then you start and think and you go, what could have caused this? And again, this is all speculation on my part, okay? I want to say this right now. We've had in the last few weeks, maybe a month, drones from Ukraine hit Moscow. Saw all those videos that they hit apartment buildings, right? They've hit other cities too. What was the original conversation that was talked about when the United States got involved in this whole thing? Oh, all the biolabs in Ukraine that the U.S. wanted to protect. Remember those stories? Okay. Again, it's total speculation. I'm just putting it out there. I want you to think, do research. If you guys find something more on it, share it. Who's to say this isn't some biological warfare that is being used by Ukraine on Russia? It could be. Again, us, the United States, Canada, Germany, England, France, pick a country in Western Europe, is all hand in hand with this. Maybe they know, maybe they don't. But, okay, most of the biological warfare that was conducted in Ukraine wasn't conducted by Ukrainian scientists. I'll just say that. Okay. Give you that as a thought. So now what? You figure Trump had his conversation over the weekend with Putin, and Trump was pissed. Now, granted, this has been going on for a while here, at least a month. Okay, so it's not like this just happened over the weekend. But how is it now just starting to hit the news? Why is it being squashed? Maybe it turns out to be nothing, which is very possible. Maybe the Russian media, the Russian medical facilities are being honest and there's really, truly nothing to worry about. But even the Russian medical field, is saying mask up, avoid social contact, don't go into crowded places. Does any of this ring a bell? Seemed to be we walked through this 5 years ago, right? Lock yourself down, mask up, do all this. We don't know what it is. There's no cure. We all know Bill Gates came out and said the next one is going to be a lot more deadly. Could this be it? We're all going to have to pay attention. There's not a whole lot on this right now, and some of it is contradictory. It's certainly not being reported about in much of the American media. Trying to find information on this, as you'll see in the articles I linked below, the Daily Mail, Newsweek, a couple of Russian media stories. Okay, we're not going to talk about, the BBC or CNN or something talking about this, but still major outlets discussing it. Nothing to do about it now. Haven't heard anything about this in the US and Canada and Western Europe. This may be nothing. I'm saying that, okay? But it may be something. And wouldn't you have liked to known ahead of time, back 5 years ago, about what was coming? There are probably a few million people who aren't with us anymore that would have loved to know what was being cast upon the world a week earlier, 2 weeks earlier, so they could have done something. I don't know. Who knows if ivermectin is going to be good for this? But at least one thing I know down here in Tennessee, I can go to the drugstore and get some without having to see my doctor. It's just something to pay attention to, because, information is still the most important prep. Pinball out.